Buenos días, sean todos muy bienvenidos a nuestra pequeña presentación de OEAC Technology en cooperación con Cube de Perú. Voy a empezar presentando a mí misma. Mi nombre es Luisa Riga Gracia. Trabajo para OEAC Technology ya hace unos años, ocupándome de nuestros socios y clientes en Latinoamérica y en España. Siempre estoy a su disposición si hay algún problema, si necesitan conexión con el socio, con regulatorios, acerca de certificados y todas cosas que hayan que arreglar con nosotros y necesitan hablar de ellos, estoy a su disposición. Para darles una breve visión de nuestra empresa, les contaré un poquito sobre OEA Technology. Vamos a ver. María, ¿se ve la pantalla grande?
Se ve grande.
Puede ver la sede de OEA Technology. Se encuentra en Rostock, que está situada entre Berlín y Hamburgo. OEA Technology comenzó a desarrollar su propio software en el 1991 y vendiendo el software a empresas grandes cuales fabricaban sistemas de rayos X. Actual contamos con aproximadamente 130 empleados, con departamentos para soporte, desarrollo de software, departamento de calidad, departamento de servicio, y adicional contamos a nivel mundial con aproximadamente 50 socios. Los productos de OEA Technologies pueden ver aquí aquí tenemos las soluciones sectoriales. Quiere decir que ofrecemos sistemas móviles, sistemas estacionarios, retrofits para sistemas análogos, para actualizarlos, sistemas CRs que aún trabajan con casetes, también para actualizar y digitalizar las imágenes. Contamos con software de adquisición, con software de diagnóstico, contamos con una nube propia y con varios accesorios para rayos X. Hoy tenemos el tema de los sistemas portátiles y móviles. Quiere decir que les voy a presentar un pequeño vídeo de nuestros sistemas móviles con los que cuenta OEA Technology y con los que somos líderes en nivel mundial. Contamos con 3 sistemas móviles que les voy a enseñar, empezando aquí con nuestra sede en Rostock. Viendo a nuestros colegas cómo les van a presentar los 3 sistemas que ofrecemos. Aquí pueden ver desde la derecha sería la caja de plástico en el que viene el sistema Amadeo MTA Mini. La caja de plástico es una caja muy robusta y quiere decir que es también la caja con la que se usa para ir al cliente, para ir a territorio, para ir a ambulancias y para ir también a clínicas. El segundo de la derecha es el Leonardo Mini 3, que es el más actual de la serie Leonardo, que ha salido el año pasado y se ha modernizado en muchos aspectos. Un momento, voy a dejar entrar.
Este es el señor Quispe.
Sí, ok, muy bien. Y entonces seguimos con el sistema, con el tercer sistema, que sería el sistema de mochila. Son 3 sistemas que trabajan con un generador de 5 kV. Aquí el primero sistema viene completo, quiere decir que está integrado. En el sistema 2 y 3 los componentes vienen separados, quiere decir que el generador siempre viene en un bolso adicional. Ok, esto sería el sistema desplegado. Aquí pueden ver el generador, pueden ver la consola de trabajo y las ruedas especiales para movimiento fácil a todas las direcciones. El Amadeo MDA Mini está listado en el ejército alemán con su código y está listado con su código en la NATO. Quiere decir que si estas organizaciones necesitan un sistema de esta clase, el Amadeo Mini es el que en general suelen elegir. Aquí pueden ver cómo se puede sacar fácilmente de su caja de transporte, como las ruedas se adaptan a todo el territorio, a todas las escaleras y se puede desplegar fácilmente sin hacer mucha fuerza. Aquí trabajamos con una mesa de paciente que también se puede plegar, pero el sistema Mateo, como ven, lleva aquí este componente para que se pueda adaptar a todas las camillas con las que se tiene que trabajar. Por ejemplo, también una cama en un dormitorio privado, por ejemplo, o en camas de hospital. Quiere decir que aquí se ha trabajado con una construcción muy ligera y muy poco ancha para que se pueda trabajar de este modo. Aquí pueden ver la consola de trabajo. Lleva una guía de posicionamiento, quiere decir que en el momento que el paciente se haya echado en la mesa o esté en su cama, entonces con la guía del posicionamiento se puede trabajar muy bien y ver exactamente a dónde se tiene que mover con el sistema. Igualmente, como ahora mismo se ha visto en el generador, em, se puede preinstalar también los valores de la exposición de los rayos X. Igualmente en el generador o en el software, en la consola de trabajo. Aquí tienen el mando para el disparo. Solo necesitan 1,5 metros de distancia para hacer la radiografía y entonces el revisor está seguro. Se ha visto solo un momento, pero también lleva un director de luces que indica si el sistema está preparado para hacer la radiografía, sí o no, en amarillo, verde y rojo. Aquí pueden ver el soporte Versarix, a donde se cuelga el director, que está especialmente diseñado para nuestros sistemas. Ahora seguimos con la segunda opción para hacer radiografías con un sistema móvil, que sería el Leonardo Mini 3. En general trabaja con un trípode para soportar el generador y puede Sí, puede trabajar con generadores de varias empresas. Quiere decir, aquí, por ejemplo, ven un generador de SIWI, pero también trabaja lógicamente con los generadores de OER Technology. Funciona completamente con baterías, igualmente como el amarillo MDA Mini. Aquí se ve el espacio para el detector. Igualmente, aquí el mismo software, todos los sistemas trabajan con el mismo software de OER Technology desarrollado por nuestro team y cual se actualiza al cabo del tiempo. Bueno, se va actualizando por nuestro team en consecuencia. El Leonardo 3 tiene una pantalla táctil de 21,5 pulgadas. Es nuevo. Los portátiles que se ofrecen hasta ahora llevan el tablet con una pantalla de 15,9 pulgadas. Aquí pueden ver cómo se trabaja con el soporte para subir y bajar el generador. Y aquí se puede ver cómo se puede ajustar el detector muy bien con el soporte de pared. Aquí también tenemos el indicador de luz para que se pueda ver el estatus del sistema, si está preparado o no para hacer, para hacer el disparo. Aquí se ve que está verde, se hace el disparo. Aquí tienen los beneficios. Se han visto, quiere decir, el beneficio del Leonardo 3 es la maleta robusta que tiene el diseño nuevo, es la pantalla táctil, es todas las conexiones nuevas que llevan y la actualidad en todo detalle que se puede ver luego también en las características. Esto sería el tercer sistema, el Leonardo Nano, que es el sistema de mochila. Quiere decir que este sistema se usa mucho cuando se trabaja con la necesidad de tener las manos libres. Aquí pueden ver otro soporte de detector, quiere decir que no trabajamos solo con el Versarix que han visto colgado en la puerta, sino que también contamos con accesorios, soportes de detectores, soportes de generadores de otras variaciones. Aquí pueden ver también cómo están todos los componentes incluidos en la mochila, quiere decir aquí se ve la consola de trabajo. Aquí atrás lleva las baterías y todo lo que hace falta. Igualmente el acu del tablet y aquí atrás pues hay el espacio para el detector de tamaños diferentes. Se puede controlar vía remote, quiere decir con un tablet o también con un móvil. Ok, esto ha sido el vídeo de... Momento. Ok, ya me ven ahora a mí, ¿no? ¿Sí? ¿Me se ve a mí?
Sí, sí se te ve.
Sí, sí, sí.
Ahora sí ya
Sí,
salió
sí,
la
Ok,
sí.
ya no
pantalla.
se ve en la pantalla. Ok, muy bien.
No.
Entonces, pues estos son los tres sistemas que ofrecemos actualmente para territorios de crisis, para emergencias, para hospitales de emergencias. Y luego, claro, según lo que necesita el cliente, se pueden adaptar los componentes como las ordenadoras, como los generadores. Eso luego siempre depende del cliente, lo que necesita para trabajar y cómo quiere trabajar. Aquí estamos con mi colega Erik Kriseldorf. Erik, hörst du mich?
Ja, ich höre dich.
Ah, super. Okay. Kannst du dann übernehmen und groß auf den Bildschirm kommen?
Ja.
Ok, super. Él nos presentará, tiene aquí ven unas de los espacios de presentación de OER Technology. Este es mi colega, Erik Kriseldorf, que forma parte de nuestra sección del soporte y les va a presentar los sistemas en un breve tiempo y lo que es más importante, el software, que es el que convence a muchos clientes que tenemos y el que es el corazón de todos los sistemas que ofrecemos y vendemos. Ok, du darfst.
All right. Yeah, thank you all for coming. My name is Eric. I'm the head of the service team here at OR Technology, and I've been with the company for about 10 years now. So what I want to show you today is basically the same systems you've just seen in a bit more detail. So let me turn the camera around a little bit so you can see. By the way, this is our lovely city of Rostock. But first, we want to look a bit at the Leonardo Nano. Just one second. Setup here is a bit difficult. So this is the most lightweight system. So it's rather simple compared to the other ones. As you can see, it's a backpack. So you can put it on just like a regular backpack, or you can carry it around. And it has three main compartments. So one large compartment here in the front is for the laptop. Unfortunately, there's no laptop inside right now. But so here would be the laptop, which can be taken out, and the system can be used without the suitcase as well. And then I have some smaller compartments here for accessory storage, such as batteries and so on. Then I have another smaller compartment, which again is mainly for accessories. So I could store the battery charger, cables, and so on and so forth. And then in the back of the bag, I have a large compartment here, which stores the X-ray detector. So in here, I can store the actual imaging device, in this case, one of our Xenor detectors. And this basically gives you everything you need except for the generator, the X-ray tube that you will need. So in this bag alone, you have everything except for the generator in one solution. Right, so as I said, this is one of our X-ray detectors, which comes with a standard protection case. So this is a carrying case, and the actual detector is in there and can be removed as well to be used individually. Go. Yeah, so that's about it. It's a bag, and you can put the compartments in there. I think it's a fairly straightforward system. That's very lightweight, of course, and very customizable. So we can put this back here. And then it's a very small system. The bag itself weighs next to nothing. You just need the laptop. And as I said, you can also remove the laptop from the bag and move around with it, go to another room and take x-rays there and so on. So you don't need the bag itself to be present. Okay, so this is as I said, a very lightweight system. Just one second. Let us switch to the suitcase solution now. So let me put this here. There we go. So this is the suitcase. It's large enough to also fit a large X-ray detector, fit for human use. So up to 17 by 17 inches detectors, or 43 by 43 centimeters. And inside we have a more powerful computer than the smaller laptop. So we lay it flat, we can open it up. And so inside we can see there's a monitor here. All the way in the back is a compartment for the X-ray detector. So same as the compartment in the back with the back, I can place a large detector in here. And then one more thing we have in here, which might be a bit difficult to see, is batteries. So these are standard power tool batteries, DeWalt batteries that you can purchase anywhere in the world. They're not proprietary, you don't have to purchase them from us. And these can be used to power the bag, the suitcase, as well as the computer inside. There are 2 batteries in there, and you can swap them out whenever you need. So if one is empty, you can just take it out and charge it up. If we flip back the monitor here, this reveals the PC components, and here I can turn it on, and then it's going to boot up. So I have a very large monitor in here. That's one of the big advantages. It's a 23 inches monitor, I think, which is much larger than what you would get with a standard laptop. And down here we have a keyboard with a touchpad. This can also be removed and can be used wirelessly. Okay, yeah, so this is going to start up in a second. You can also see there are some small features here, such as these little LEDs, which also reflect the status of the system. So when these are green, that means it's ready for an acquisition. When they're red or yellow, that means it's preparing or there's an error or something. So even without seeing the monitor itself, you can see and hear the readiness of the system. The battery status in the back is also reflected in the software. So if one of the batteries goes low, you can see in the software while you're taking X-rays, oh, maybe I should swap out one of the batteries or charge one up. The software itself we'll look at later. So we're not going to look at this. We'll look at it on the big screen, and I'll show you the software itself in detail. So for now, this is just the hardware that we're looking at here. The suitcase also has a sensor. So if I flip it down like this, it will automatically, after 60 seconds, go into sleep mode. So you're not wasting battery if you're just putting the suitcase together. All right, yeah, so much for the suitcase and the backpack. Are there any questions so far about these 2 mobile systems? You can also type in chat if you're more comfortable with that. You can also type in Spanish, and Luisa will translate, or Teams will translate it for me, I think, even.
Si tiene alguna pregunta, no dude en preguntar. También directamente a Eric, si se pone en el chat, se traduce automáticamente. Y si no, se puede preguntar también más tarde, como quieran.
Yes, thank you, Eric. I have a question for you. Thank you for your presentation. I really, it's a very good work. I'd like to know how long the batteries last, and if there are any restrictions due to humidity conditions.
So the batteries, of course, depend on how much you use it. If you just leave the PC running all day and take X-rays one after another, then with 2 large batteries, you will last about 8 hours, usually. Of course, as I said, these are standard power tool batteries. You can get them internationally anywhere. So it's very, very easy to get just spare batteries, right? So instead of having 2 batteries, you could have a third one. And then if you're having 3 of them, you can always just swap one out and have one charge. They can also be very easily charged in cars. There are adapters for that as well. Okay. So generally speaking, battery for this is really not an issue.
Yeah. And the humidity restrictions, because the weather here in South America is very, very humidity. And do you have any condition about the humidity or any other conditions of weather?
I think the standard humidity conditions apply, as for most electronics, around 85% humidity, I think. I'm not sure, I would have to look it up myself, but I think that's roughly the range of where it's supposed to work. But generally speaking, we have these systems in use around the world. So as an example, we have mobile systems currently working in the Philippines in very remote areas, you know, where it's also very humid as well. So it's generally not a concern.
Okay. And so how much does the equipment weigh?
The whole suitcase, that's a good question. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Luisa, could you maybe take a look at the brochure? It should say it on there.
Okay.
Was müssen wir wissen?
Das Gewicht vom System, also von dem Leonardo
Vom Leo
3.
3, 9,5 Kilo.
Ajá,
Okay.
9,5.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
9,5.
Thank you very much, Eric.
All right,
Thank you very much for your presentation.
El nano pesa un poco menos, ¿verdad? Ese es 8.5, creo que es nano, ¿no?
Sí, el nano pesa menos, exacto.
Sí, 8.5 creo que era.
Ujú.
Ok.
Está entrando Ámbar.
Es la
Bienvenida.
licenciada de Arequipa. Ajá.
Wir haben noch eine Teilnehmerin, aber wir können ja nicht von vorne anfangen. Kannst gerne weitermachen, Erik.
Ja.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's switch the camera angle a bit. So let me move things around just a bit. With the sun, well, there's no sun, but with the window in the background.
Beautiful landscape, Eric.
Thank you. It's still early spring though, so it's very cold here.
Yes, very cold. Thank you very much.
Now we have to, well, just to show you the generator side as well. We have here one singular generator. Let me. So this would be just an individual generator with a mobile stand that can be moved around freely. So this is a fairly simple solution to have a mobile generator out in the field. This is one of our Amadeo generators, which is fairly lightweight and fairly simple to control as well. So in the front here, we just have some buttons to set up KV and MAS, as well as 6 different saving points here for different techniques. So as I said, this is a fairly lightweight generator, so it's not quite as powerful as larger ones, but also lighter to carry around. So if you have to go somewhere out in the field or somewhere, then it's much easier to control as well. So other than that, it's fairly standard. So of course we have a collimator light down here and the ability to adjust the light field. We also have the ability to turn the system up here a little bit, so we can turn it like this, and we can of course also adjust it like this, so it's pointing in different directions. We have many different, this is just one example, we have many different types of mobile stands, so as well as many different types of generators. So if you have some specific need for a specific technique, generator, or environment where to use them, then we can certainly meet that. Right, so this is one of our, oops, let me move it around a bit. And let's take a look at the complete system. So we have the Amadeo over here. This is, let me adjust the camera a little. Go. So this is our Amadeo MDR Mini. This is a full complete system all in one. So you have a detector, a PC, and a generator, everything you need to take X-rays, all in this machine. It's a bit heavier, of course, than the other ones. I think it's around 80 kilograms. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa. But it has, as I said, it is a fully complete solution integrated. We use this in many different fields. It's used in the military. It's used in mobile medical services. So people that go to, for example, old people's homes to X-ray them there instead of having the people come to the hospital. They're also being used on cruise ships or generally ships and yachts that require onboard medical services. So right now it's in its folded up state, basically. So as you can see, it has a very small footprint, and I can turn it completely, basically on a dime. So it has a very small turn radius. I can fit it through most doors that way. I can even, due to the large wheels at the bottom, so these wheels here, oh, can you still hear me? Okay, sorry, my microphone just made a strange noise. You can even pull it upstairs, for example. So if you pull it somewhere and you have to go upstairs, it works like that as well. So this is the compact state. This can be used for storage or transportation. And then if I want to set it up, if I want to take actual X-rays, then I have to unfold it. This is also a very simple process. So up here, I fold down this arm. Go. And then here I have the generator at the end, and there's a big push button. And if I push that, I can move this arm up as high as I needed to. So it goes fairly high up. And then I can manipulate the generator to face any direction I need to. So it can face down, can face to the sides. I can also turn it this way and any which way I need to. So this allows me to take images both on patient beds, for example, but also in a wall position or any kind of other position that I might need. While it's in this state, it's still mobile. So as you can see, it's a bit larger, of course, now. It's a bit more difficult to maneuver. So if I want to take it upstairs now, that would be a bad idea. And fitting it through a door might also be a bit more complicated, but it's still fully mobile. So it's still very easy to move around. And I can also turn it this way. So I'm not limited to back and forth either. The profile at the bottom is very small. So down here, there's a very small profile, about a hand width. And that allows me to fit it underneath doors as well. So it can fit underneath most installations that are low profile. Let's turn it around a bit. Look at the front here. So here in the front, we have two big compartments. One of the compartments is up here. This is for the laptop, for the PC. So if I just turn this around and fold it out, then down here I have my laptop. Behind that, I have the exposure hand switch. So this is also a very long cord. So I can stand very far away when I'm exposing. I don't have to be right next to the X-ray system. I can go a very large distance away from it for radiation protection. Put that back in. Then underneath, I have another compartment, which is for storage of the X-ray detector. So if I put this back up here, then down here I can store the X-ray detector. So that's, again, this also fits all kinds of detectors from small to very large, up to 17 by 17, which is generally the largest detector that's being used. And then all the way at the bottom, I have a brake. So this here is a brake paddle. So if I put this down, the system no longer moves around. All right, let's look at the other side. So here I have the generator. Let's turn it the way it's supposed to be. There we go. So this generator specifically has a touch interface. So let's put it a bit closer. That's the sound it makes when it starts up. And so it has all the same features you would expect, but with a touch. Well, I think this is. There we go. Now, yeah. So here with the touch interface, I can set up the KV, MAS, and so on. But it also has a wireless connection to the laptop. And so I don't need to use this interface up here at all. I can do everything I need to do on the other side from the laptop position. So the software has a direct connection to the generator, and from there I can make all the settings. Okay, Yeah, that's about it. Down here we have the power cable. So this can wrap around here, and I can unwrap this cable and then connect it to the power. Without power, so on battery mode, you can take approximately up to 200 exposures. So if you're doing light exposures such as arms, legs, feet, hand, and so on, about 200 exposures is fine. If you're doing something like a spine or chest x-ray, of course, it's a bit less than that. But all of that completely without power. While it's plugged in, of course, you can use it as much as you like. It's not going to run out of power. Okay. Any questions so far? Otherwise, I'm going to put it back together.
Sí, por favor. Una pregunta. Altura máxima que puedo lograr con el Amadeu para lograr una distancia foco-película de 1 metro sobre una incubadora neonatal.
Luisa, ¿lo traduces tú?
Ah, no, él lo está leyendo. Kannst du es
okay.
lesen, Erik?
Wie lesen?
Achso, ich dachte, du siehst gerade eine Übersetzung.
Nein, nein, nein.
Ja.
Ich sehe nur, wenn
Ach
jemand
so.
im Chat schreibt. Sorry.
Ach so, okay. Ja, er möchte wissen, auf welche Höhe wir das System bringen können, wenn er an einem neugeborenen Bett mit 1 Meter Abstand eine Aufnahme machen will. Also hier geht es um den Neugeborenen und wenn wir das Bett haben, 1 Meter Abstand von oben. Also bis zu welcher Höhe? Aha.
So
Víctor,
this
¿lo
is
puedes
the
ver?
this is the
Sí.
maximum height up here, and I actually do have a ruler.
Ah, mira, lo puede medir y todo.
Excuse me, it's about 1 neonatal incubator.
Sorry?
Ja, wie viel ist das?
2 meters, 2 Meter.
Ajá, son 2 metros, Víctor. Entonces depende de la altura de la cama o de a dónde está el bebé.
Es
So,
un neonato.
Bueno, eso necesitamos saber la altura. Esto ha sido ahora una altura de 2 metros, quiere decir que sería hasta 1 metro, se tendría el metro de distancia.
Sí, por supuesto. La
Sí.
distancia foco-película debe ser de aproximadamente 1 metro
Sí,
hasta el paciente.
so
sí.
this here is one. This is 1
Eso
meter.
lo que están enseñando ahora es el metro. El metro
This is 1 meter, and then the rest is
desde
another
el
meter.
generador. Todo lo que viene debajo tienes el metro de distancia de seguridad.
Sí, veo según la imagen que es posible. No hay problemas. Para los que nos ven y trabajan en la parte de neonatología. Sí,
Claro.
muchas gracias.
De nada. Vielen Dank, Erik.
All right, so let's put it back down. And so putting it back down is just everything we did before in reverse. So we put it back down here, turn off the generator. And so very quickly, very easily now it's ready for transport or storage. Okay, right. There's one more thing I want to show you. Let's see how we do this ideally.
Eric, sorry.
Yes.
About the generation power required for this equipment, it's a little over 5 kilowatts.
No se oye bien, no se oye bien, no se oye casi.
Hello? Do you hear me now?
Ya, pero se oye muy
Muy chilloso.
Oh, sorry.
Está un poco chilloso.
Algo va mal.
Internet.
Sí, pero si es una pregunta también se puede escribir en el chat.
You hear me now?
It's still very choppy.
Okay, I write in the chat. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
So one more thing I want to show is the Versarix. That's our detector holding position, basically. So I'm not sure what environment these will be used in, but especially wall X-rays can be very difficult to take if you don't have any facilities for that. So we have situations where people are out in the field, even outside, and they have to take something like a chest X-ray, for example, for which you need the detector to be in a wall position. So this is the Versarix here, and has 3 different modes basically for how to attach it. One is 2 large straps here. So if I have a door, okay, door is a bit too wide for me, so I have to make it a bit larger. So if I have a door somewhere, I can use that to fix it there. So here, I can put it over there. And now it's the wrong way around. That's perfect. Sorry about that. There we go. There. And so now I can close the door. And I have a attachment here. Let me grab a detector, sorry. So here I have a detector, and now I can just hang this here and take X-rays in any position I need to. This can be changed here. The height can be adjusted freely. So I can put it up here or all the way down here for something like a foot X-ray, for example. It's very sturdy, so even with a detector on there, I can pull quite hard and it's not going to fall down. It's not going to rip off. And so this is one way to attach it with the straps. There's 2 other ways to attach it. One is that there's see if you can see that. There's a little hole in here. So if I have a wall hook, a coat hanger, something like that, I can just hang it on there. We've even seen this used in the field. So for example, people would just take a large nail, put it onto a tree, and then just hang it on there. That also works. And the third solution is a little attachment here that can be used to just put it on top of most objects. So I could even put it on here, for example, and that works as well. So very lightweight, very simple solution for a complex problem that allows you to take X-rays anywhere, even if there's no wall attachment. Okay. Now there's the question in chat. Sorry for the noise. Generator power, a little over 5 kilowatts.
Si me permiten.
Yes,
Sí,
so
Víctor.
Un momento, Víctor, que está respondiendo a una pregunta en el chat.
yes, so the generator, most of the generators take power between 120 volts and 230 volts. So that's the common, you can use it anywhere in the world to charge it. So long as it has a power connection, it's going to charge up its batteries, and then you can take X-rays based on the battery charge. So yes, solar panels also work as long as they have a regular, wall outlet, basically. Does that answer the question?
Okay, yes. You hear me now?
Yes, we hear you now.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, it's the question.
All right, thank you.
Ahora,
Okay.
Víctor. Víctor hatte noch eine Frage.
Yes.
No quiero hacer preguntas, sino destacar el trabajo de ingeniería que han desarrollado con este producto. Sustituye cualquier estativo vertical y de verdad es maravilloso.
Muchas gracias.
Así como el trabajo del trípode también es maravilloso. No piensen, para nuestros usuarios y que nos escuchen, que es un estativo vertical de una cámara fotográfica. Tiene su tecnología debido al peso y la forma de maniobrar. Pero de verdad me ha gustado mucho eso, como la alta tecnología en los sistemas de software de procesamiento de imagen, que me imagino que después la van a mostrar nuevamente.
Así. Sí, así es.
Okay. Otra cosa. Para los que piensan en el buggy o parrillas movibles, con los sistemas digitales no es necesario, para que no piensen que tienen que tener una parrilla o un buggy móvil o estacionario o estativo. No es necesario con los sistemas digitales para todos nuestros clientes. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Víctor. Okay, du bist wieder auf klein, Erik. Machst du dich wieder groß?
Nein, ich war fertig mit zeigen.
Ach so, okay, gut. Ja, ¿hay alguna pregunta más?
Also als nächstes würde ich dann die Software zeigen, meinte ich.
Ja, würde ich auch sagen. Ich glaube, nadie tiene una pregunta. Bueno, si tienen preguntas acerca de los sistemas, luego después de la presentación, claro que se pueden hacer aún preguntas y claro que siempre pueden tomarse contacto con la señora Peck y el señor Víctor y les responderán a todas las preguntas de las características técnicas, lo que ahora a lo mejor no se haya hablado o en lo que ahora mismo no están pensando. Eric nos va a presentar ahora el software, que es el software con el que trabajan todos los sistemas de OR, desde el móvil hasta el estacionario, también pasando los retrofits. Siempre es el mismo sistema de software.
Kann ich?
Ja.
Okay, let me share my screen. There we go. Okay, can you see my software here? Okay, perfect. So,
Yes.
what we're looking at here is the DXR X-ray software. This is also the software itself is being designed and developed here in our in Rostock in-house. So we have our own developers, which allows us great freedom in how to run the software and how to add new features. What we're seeing here is the main screen. So in here I have some basic information such as how much space I have left, which version I'm on. And in the middle here I have a login. I don't typically need a login. If you want, we can set up a login to make the system more secure. But by default, I can also just log in without any information. And that gets me to the first step of the X-ray process, which is the patient entry. So to insert patients, I have three options here. New patient, emergency patient, or contacting the RIS system, so the hospital information system. So if you're in a hospital, in a clinic, then typically you would have a DICOM connection to a so-called worklist server, which provides patient information directly. So in my case, I have a demo version. So if I click on this button here, it's just going to give me a demo patient. But normally this would query the network server to ask for patients. So that would give me a patient automatically. The other two options are manual. So new patient is just a manual patient entry. So if I click on this here, then on the left here, I have to enter the patient information manually. The red fields are required. So if I don't fill these out, I cannot enter this patient. So let's just use John Doe as always. You can already see if I'm typing in a certain patient name that I've already x-rayed in the past, then the software will give me a suggestion here. So it will remember patients. So if you have a smaller setup where you're x-raying the same patients commonly, then this would help you speed up your x-ray process. But for this case, I just want to enter the information manually. Patient ID and date of birth. So, oh wait, that's day, month, and year in this case. Of course, I can freely adjust the date format for international purposes as well. And then I can enter male, female as well. And for females, there's also a pregnancy check. So the software will remind you if you select a woman to ask about the pregnancy status, which is just a safety feature. It does not affect the X-ray values or how the software operates. It's just a reminder for the operator. Right, the other fields here, these are gray. Those are optional fields, so I don't need to fill these in, but I can. So I can enter information, but I don't have to. And then when I'm finished with everything, I can click the Insert Patient button. And so now the patient is part of the patient list here. The third button, Emergency, that's as the name implies, for emergencies. If you don't have the information for the patient, so you don't know who it is, or you don't have the time to insert the information, then you can also just press the Emergency button, and that will automatically get you to the next step here. So that would get you to the radiography step. We can go back to the patient overview, and there we now see there's one emergency patient in the list. So if I want to x-ray one of the patients, I can just double-click the patient, or I can select the patient and click on X-ray up here. So I'll just double-click for now, and that gets me to the X-ray step. The X-ray step, there are two main sub-steps here. One is planning the X-ray. Of course, I have to plan whether I'm taking a chest or a finger or an arm, as this will affect the technique being used as well as how the image gets calculated and processed. So I have a human here on the left. If I hover over one of the body parts here, it will show me the name of it. And if I click on it, then it will give me a more detailed list of possible exams here. So I typed in chest X-ray earlier. So of course, I want to X-ray a chest. And so I can just select a chest PA here. I can also click on several things. So if I click on more than one thing, you can see it just gets added to the list here. So anything I click on will just get added to the list of planned exposures. I can also click on the human and select another body part here. So I can also add a foot as well. And you can also see here at the bottom, there are different plannings for small children as well as infants. So this will, of course, affect the technique that the software suggests for how to take the X-ray. Right, if I'm happy with my planning here, I can go to X-ray step, so exposition. And this gives me access to the generator control as well as the detector status. One more thing I can show you here is the X-ray helper. So you can see there's these small preview pictures here for each X-ray image I want to take. So if I click on one of them, that opens up the X-ray helper. And that's going to give me some pictures suggesting how to position the patient and what to look out for. This is available for almost all X-rays. So you can see everything that has a picture here also comes with an X-ray positioning guide. And that, of course, that's very useful for people who might be new to the job, so who might not be all that experienced with every single X-ray technique, as well as if you have certain X-rays that you don't typically take that are a bit rarer for you to take, just as a small reminder. Okay, so in the X-ray step here, I can set the technique. So here I have my KV MAS, and I can increase or decrease them. I also have two buttons here to quickly increase or decrease the size of the patient. So if I have a larger or smaller patient, I can make them here a bit smaller or a bit larger. Since this is a demo system, it doesn't work perfectly because I don't have an actual generator connected, but normally I could just press up, down to make the person a bit larger or a bit smaller. And then finally down here, I have the detector status. So again, this is a demo, so I don't have an actual detector connected, but it would give me the battery status, Wi-Fi connection, as well as the readiness of the X-ray detector. So if everything's fine, if I've set the technique that I wanted to, and patient is ready for exposure, and down here I see the green button, that means it's ready. And so I can, in my case, I click on the button here. In your case, of course, you would press the hand switch to expose the patient. So in my case, I'll just use the demo version here. And so now I see the X-ray here in the middle. I can very quickly set left-right markers. If I don't use physical left-right markers, I can use these buttons here. I also have the option to set additional information here in the X-ray. This list can be customized, of course, to add your own kind of information, but I can very quickly do the required steps, whatever I need to do to label the X-ray. I have some tools down here, so I can zoom in, zoom out, of course. I can turn the image if it's the wrong side up, make it brighter or darker. I also have, by default, on the right mouse button, window leveling. So if I hold down my right mouse button, I can very quickly adjust the contrast of the image to get a bit more information in the area where I need it. There's two more things I want to show, which for that I need a different image. Just a second. Sorry. There we go. That's good to show it with, except it's not. That's the one I wanted. There we go. So one more feature I want to show is the white point. So that's this little icon down here. So this is also often called region of interest. And that shows you what currently the software thinks is the important aspect of the image. So if I use this button here, I can manually move this to a different area. So if I want more detail in the soft tissue down here, in the toes, I can just move the white point, the region of interest down here. Whereas if I want more information up here in the bone, I can move it there. And that will also optimize the image for that area then. So that is one way the user can very quickly adjust it. Of course, they can also use window leveling, as I just mentioned. Another thing I have, again, I need a different image for that. I have an automatic detection of collimation. So this is the default image here in this case. So you have the actual X-rays, and then outside of the collimation, of course, a very bright white area. So what the software does all by itself, it uses image recognition to find the collimation here and automatically darken the area around the collimation. And when I finish the image, so when I'm done with the image, with the study, the software will automatically, yes, I don't have those. Just a second. There we go. When I finish the image, the software will automatically crop the image as well. So now the area outside of the collimation has been removed to keep the image smaller and make it easier to diagnose. So those are the main tools. I also have a reject button here. So this little trash bin down here, if the image was not good, if the patient moved, or for some other reason I cannot use this image for diagnostics, I can reject the image, and the software will immediately allow me to retake the image. So I don't have to go back to the planning step. I can immediately take the image again. And of course, I can also restore images whenever I need to. So these 3 images here are rejected. I can always just click this to restore the images. So there's nothing a user could do to accidentally delete an image, for example. As soon as the image is there on the screen, it is safe for everyone. So the user doesn't need to worry about accidentally pressing the wrong button. Okay, so if I'm happy with my study, I can finish the entire study. The software is going to ask me, because I still have one or two unfinished images here. So this one, for example, I didn't take an X-ray for this. It's going to ask me. The software is also going to warn me that some of the images I took don't have any dose associated with them. So I can just manually confirm, okay, finish the images without dose. So these features can also be deactivated, these additional safety quality features. But most cases, it would be better to have a dose associated with the image. Right, as soon as I finish the study, I get back to the patient screen. If I want to look at the study that I just took, look at the images again, I can go to the list view here. And so this shows me by default the studies from today. I can also select a different day or a certain date. Or I can just have it show me all of the images. And that shows me everything I've X-rayed on this system. If I want to look at the images again in detail, I can just double-click this here. So if I double-click a study, it will open up the images in full screen view and give me additional tools for diagnostics. So here on the right side, you can see, so on the left, I see all the images that are in the study. In the middle, I see the actual image along with some information for when the image was taken and so on. And then on the right side, I have a lot of different tools that allow me to do further analysis of the image. So for example, I have simple annotations. I can measure distances here, for example, or I can measure an angle. So very simple tools. There are some more advanced tools as well. For example, I can measure the curval spine, spinal curvature, things like that, or pelvis obliquity. So quite a few different tools for different needs, depending on what kind of doctors you're working with. Yeah, so I have a ton of different annotations. I can also apply different filters to the image. So I can apply an inversion filter or a sharpness filter. I'm not sure how easy that is to see, but basically all kinds of different filters. I can still window level very quickly. So again, if I hold down my right mouse button and move the mouse up, left, or up, down, or left, right, I can very quickly adjust the contrast to where I need it to be. So these are the diagnostic tools that I have available. I also have a bunch of different export tools. So if I need to get these images somewhere else, of course, we have DICOM sending by default. So if you have a central server, a PACS server that can receive these images, we can, of course, just send them there. But if you only have the X-ray system and no central PACS, then we also have different tools here for export. So just some examples. I have a patient CD function, of course. So if I want to burn the images onto a CD drive, I can do that. Right now, it's telling me I don't have an empty CD on there, so I can't do it. I can also, instead of a CD, use a USB drive, for example. So if I want to burn the images onto a USB drive instead of the CD, I can do that. And that will put the images on there as well as viewing software. So whoever gets the CD can take it home and can look at the images there with proper viewing software. I can also print images, of course. So if that's a requirement, we can print images in different layouts as well. So this is a 2x3. I can also use any kind of layout I can think of. So this is completely customizable, which kind of layout I need. And I can also further adjust the images in here and move them around. This can be done either on paper print as well as DICOM printers. So if I need film print, I can also use that. One of our newer features is the Orca. So this is a cloud archive where I can also upload images. And I can also use this to share images. So we have something called a virtual patient CD. So the regular patient CD, of course, is a CD or DVD. The virtual patient CD uploads the images instead and then outputs a PDF file that has a QR code as well as a link on it. And so you can, instead of giving the patient a CD to take home, you can give them a printed page or a QR code, and they can scan that at home and then look at the images online. So this is now uploading the image to the cloud. And then in a few seconds, it will give me the ability to print out a PDF file. I certainly hope it will. This is a demo system in our own house, so there's, as always, the possibility that it will not work. On Monday, it worked very fast. So unfortunately, I think it might not work down here. I was in a different room on Monday where the internet connection was different. Well, that is unfortunate. Let me check if I have a... Yeah, so that is what it would look like if it outputs a PDF file. So you could then, this is in German, unfortunately, but the idea is the same. So you have a PDF, you have a QR code as well as a link. You can click the link or scan the QR code with your cell phone. And then the person has to have an additional safety feature. So normally this would be, oh, it worked actually, yeah. Great, so now you can see this is what it looks like after it does upload. I can create a PDF file now in German, English, or Spanish. So if I click on Spanish here, it will output a Spanish PDF file, which again has all of the information. So the person needs to scan this QR code or click the link. And in addition to that, they will also need their own birthday, which of course, you know, it's a safety feature. So not just anyone can open it up. Of course, the person themselves hopefully remembers their own birthday. So for them, it's not an issue. Oh, I was hoping it would work. Now it's keeping me waiting again. As I said, so this is our Orca cloud. So this has two different levels. One is the Orca archive, where I can just, where I have a fixed amount of storage online, and I can send all of my images from X-ray, MRI, CT, and so on. I can send all of it to the cloud and look at it anywhere in the world. And the other aspect here is the sharing part, where I can share something either as a virtual patient CD or via email directly. There we go, just took a minute. So you can see this is the Spanish PDF version. And again, either I can click the link or I can scan the QR code. This will automatically fill in the code here. And in addition to this code, I will still need the birthday of the patient to be able to access the images. Okay. Other than that, I have a simple export as well. So if I just want to put images onto my desktop or in a folder or on a USB drive, I can do that. And I can also email images directly. So if I input the email information from my email provider into the software, then I can directly send emails from the software and attach the email, images in there. Okay, so these are the export options, and that's about it for what we can do here. So as I said, all kinds of diagnostic features. I can compare images from different patients as well, view them side by side, and so on. So anything you might need in terms of diagnostics, measurements, annotations, and so on can be done in here, as well as exporting images or viewing them. Okay, now a few more things we can do back here in the list view. I can change the patient information. So, for example, if I X-ray an emergency, as we looked at earlier, of course, later on, I should assign the proper patient information to it. And so, for example, here, if this Jane Doe, if I mistype the name or something, I can very quickly change the patient information and say, no, this was actually a John Doe, and it was a man and not a woman. There we go. Let's save this. I can also remove images from the list here. So again, as I said earlier, I cannot delete images as a regular user, but I can move images into the recycle bin. So if I click on this, then one of the studies is now gone from the list. And if I check the recycle bin, then I can see, okay, this is the study here, and I can restore it. There's also a button for deleting it, but again, since I'm logged in as a normal user and not an administrator, I cannot click this button and I cannot delete these images. I can only restore them. Okay, so yeah, that's about it for the basic features here. Just to very briefly recap, so in the patient view, I have to insert the patient information or receive it from a central server. Then I can double click on the patient. In the planning stage, I plan which kind of X-ray I want to take, such as a shoulder or whatever we have here. And then in the exposition screen, I can, when everything's ready, adjust the technique I want to use or just X-ray the patient. And when I'm happy with the X-ray, when everything's finished, I can finish the study. And that gets me back to the patient screen. So as you can see, the basic workflow, just having one patient, X-raying them, finishing the study up, it's very, very simple and very quick to learn, I think. So if you have a high volume workflow as well, it's very simple to use the software and X-ray a lot of people in a short amount of time. All right, any questions so far?
Thank you very much, Eric. Many questions. Very good overview. Thank you. Very great and functional platform. I have some questions about. I have many, but I sent to. Can the platform be integrated with management programs or CRM system?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you repeat the question?
¿Puedes repetir, Víctor?
Yes. Yes. Can the software be integrated with other medical record management programs or CRM systems or other software?
Yes.
Do you
So
hear me or not?
Yes, I can hear you. It depends a little bit. So as I said earlier, if you have a DICOM contact, so if we can send the images via DICOM or receive patient information via DICOM, then it's very simple to set up. That's no problem at all. If the software you're using does not have a DICOM node, a DICOM connection, then it might still be possible, but it would depend on the software. We'd have to look at this individually. So I cannot, unfortunately, I cannot.
But it's with DICOM protocol.
Sorry?
It's with DICOM protocol.
Yes, absolutely. So DICOM send,
okay.
DICOM worklist, no problem at all.
Okay, thank you very much.
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
Sí, quiero hacer una pregunta. ¿El software es capaz de medir la densidad ósea con las radiografías de algunas partes del cuerpo?
Fragt, ob man die Densität messen kann mit der Software von allen Körperteilen.
It depends a bit what you mean exactly. Generally, there is a digital density measurement. So, yeah, I can measure the density like this over a square or a circle or a line. So I do have density measurements, if that answers your question.
¿Sí? ¿Ha sido la pregunta, Víctor?
No he entendido lo que me dijo.
Eso, que sí
por
se
ejemplo,
pueden medir.
Sí, se pueden medir.
Sí.
Por ejemplo, en tobillo, a la altura de columna vertebral.
Also das würde dann auch gehen am Knöchel oder am woanders dann auch, wie zum Beispiel an der Wirbelsäule, Knöchel.
Ajá, está mostrando imágenes.
Sí,
ahí,
y ahí se puede medir igualmente.
Sí, el software me permite hacer densitometría ósea.
Sí, ósea, ¿qué quiere decir? Ayúdenme.
Huesos. Se
Huesos.
refiere a
Ah, ja.
sí,
Ja,
Knochen.
die Densität, das ist ja die Densität in den Knochen dann auch, ne?
Mhm.
Ja, die radiografische Dichte. It's the radiological density. It's a bit different, of course, compared to the density of a CT image. No, that's quite the difference. But yes, generally you do have density measurements for the images.
Ujú. Ok, sí se pueden medir. Claro, dice que es diferente a las mediciones, por ejemplo, con CT.
Sí, entiendo y veo la imagen. Es muy importante este dato.
Ok,
Sí,
muy bien.
veo que mueve software o por software la densitometría ósea.
Ujú. Also la densidad radiológica.
Claro, es
Ok,
que la densitometría ósea se mide por rayos X o por ultrasonido.
ok, pues esto de ósea no lo había oído, por eso había preguntado.
No, está muy bien, todos aprendemos
Sí, ¿verdad?
cada día, pero para nuestros clientes es importante que ellos tengan ese dato. También se puede hacer en muñeca o la parte
Claro.
superior de la mano,
Ujú.
o también en columna vertebral.
Sí, eso lo ha
a ni-
confirmado.
Sí,
Exacto.
a nivel bajo.
Ujú.
Eso es
Ok,
muy
muy bien.
importante e interesante.
Ok,
Porque sí, los felicito por esta tecnología.
gracias. Er gratuliert uns für unsere Technologie, Erik.
Danke.
Ja.
Mm,
¿Alguna
Gracias a
otra pregunta
ustedes.
más?
Okay, waren noch Fragen?
Okay, nee, scheinbar jetzt nicht. Und ja, wenn jemandem noch was in den Sinn kommt, können wir die Fragen jetzt auch nach der Präsentation noch beantworten. Si tienen alguna pregunta después de la presentación, lo que mencioné antes, no duden en contactarnos, contactar a María, a Cube, que es nuestro socio en Perú. Y entonces, sí, espero que nos veamos pronto. Igual nos vemos en Perú o por ahí en Latinoamérica, porque no son